This question is asking us, what does h of x approach as x approaches negative infinity? Whenever we're seeing this idea of x approaching negative infinity, we always want to think this is end behavior. End behavior, something that's happening all the way at the end. Now, with polynomial functions, all we did was we just plugged in a negative and we saw what happened. With rational functions, where we have a polynomial in the numerator and denominator, we need to take one more step. First, just like before, we want to focus on our leading term. Because at negative infinity, the only thing that matters is whatever is the biggest on the top and the bottom. So here, I can say that h of x will approximately equal whatever the leading term is here in the numerator, so that's 3x cubed, over the leading term in the denominator, and that's x squared. Now we're not done here because we can reduce this. I see that there's an x cubed on the top and an x squared on the bottom. And so I can get rid of x squared from both of these, and so in the numerator, we'll get 3x, the 3 stays the same, and in the denominator, because the x squared is gone, we'll just have 1. So that means at the very, very end of the function, this function is going to behave just like the function 3x. Now, in order to figure out what's going on here, we then have to plug in the value that we want. Here we want negative infinity, and so here I'm just going to plug in a negative. Plug in a negative. And see what happens. Well, if I take 3 and I multiply it by a negative number, because we said we're just going to put a negative there for x, well, 3 is positive, and this is negative, and so in the end, this will also be negative. And so because we know that it's going to be negative, it's going to get really big negatively, that means that as x approaches negative infinity, our function h of x will also approach negative infinity. Remember, the steps here, the first thing we do is we look at the leading terms. Look at leading terms. Then we reduced our fraction, reduce fraction, and then we plugged in the value that we wanted. In this case, we wanted a negative. In other cases, we might want a positive.